I stole from a girl's house / threw up during a sleepover. Warning, some audiences may find this content disturbing. View at your own discretion. Welcome to the House of Reddit. Today, we share some recent r/confessions posted on Reddit. I stole from a girl's house / threw up during a sleepover. In 6th grade, I was cripplingly depressed and beginning to lean hard into my bulimic anorexia. I have type 2 anorexia, which is anorexia, but you also binge on food and puke it up later. I'd been trying to lose weight since 5th grade, and in 6th grade I made the leap and started starving myself. I was fasting for 3 days at a time, sometimes 5, exercising so excessively that I passed out, seeing black and white spots after standing up. My skin was dry and sallow, I bruised at the slightest touch, and my eyes were wrung with shadows. I looked like a walking corpse, bundled up in my brother's oversized clothes to hide my body and keep myself warm since I wasn't eating enough calories to heat myself. To top it off, I was in a brand new school and enrolled in their magnet program. I had no friends, but this was pretty much by choice. I avoided my classmates like the plague. This one girl seemed hell-bent on being my friend, out of what I'm positive was pity or curiosity since I was a total bitch to everyone. She was in my magnet course and was really popular and pretty, and she had a big group of friends. We'll call her Mac. Her other friend, Rue, was just as enthusiastic. They were really nice, genuinely sweet girls, and so I would pair with them when required to do group activities and stuff. Around Christmas, Mac invites me to her sleepover birthday with Rue and her other friend, Sue. I agree with difficulty. I'm incredibly awkward and don't really know how to refuse. Part of me is also excited. These pretty, skinny girls might like me. Yippee! I haven't been invited to a sleepover in years, anyways, so I say yes and tell my mom, who is just as excited that her oldest daughter is finally being less of a gremlin. We got to a craft store and get her a gift certificate since I don't know shit about what she likes, and I get dropped off at her super cool house. Things are cool at first. I meet her grandma's hairless dogs, I learn that she loves Star Trek and Napoleon Dynamite, she has younger siblings, etc. Eventually, dinner rolls around, and holy fuck, her mom made so much food. And it's all food I fucking love, like macaroni with breadcrumbs and cake and rice and stuff. I had planned to discreetly throw away whatever I'd been given, or eat very little, but all at once we're seated at her table and my anorexia's bulimic traits take over. I eat enough for 2 of me. I see them looking surprised since I've never been seen eating food at school. My anorexia tells me their surprise is really disgust. Revulsion. We finish eating and I put away my dishes. We sit and watch a movie and talk, but I excuse myself to go use the bathroom. Right when I lock the door, I promptly drop to my knees, stick 2 fingers down my throat, and puke all into her toilet. I keep going until it's just bile, clear and white and burning. By the end I can't talk without sounding like a frog. I cry for a little bit, squeezing my stomach and thighs and feeling fucking revolted by my body. I notice a basket under her sink full of medicine. I look in there and find laxatives and pocket them to hide in my duffel bag. Puking hurts my throat, so I'll just purge out the other end. I sneak into her room and take a t-shirt that I tried on earlier when we were hanging out. I was disgusted with how tightly it had fit me compared to her. I keep it as a reference, when this shirt hangs off of me like a pillowcase, I'll be skinny enough. I hide everything in my duffel bag and suffer through the rest of the night. My eyes were red and puffy from crying and puking and my stomach felt like shit. I hear her mom talking with her cousin, wondering why the bathroom smells weird. We go to bed and I text my mom to pick me up early. Fast forward 1 month, and the jig is up. My mom knows I'm starving myself and she forces me into an intensive outpatient program. I have a feeding tube shoved down my nostril, it's hooked up to a backpack with a pouch full of supplement drink, and it's where I get all my nutrition for a month since I refuse to eat. I have to be in a wheelchair because walking burns too many calories since I'm hypermetabolic. It sucks balls. I'm fully recovered now and I've just started my freshman year. This event plagues me. I gave the shirt to Goodwill last week. I still don't know why those girls were so fucking nice to me. I falsified my previous company's daily time record entries. I was 21 and fresh out of college and was desperate for a job. I was looking for a job for months without any luck, so I decided that I would settle anywhere and be grateful with whatever job will be given to me. So when a company hired me, I was beyond grateful. At first everything was good, my coworkers were wonderful, my supervisor was pleasant, and the work was manageable. This inspired me to give my best in everything and poured myself into my job thinking that I would be rewarded, but the opposite happened. Seeing that I was diligent, my supervisor decided to give me more work. Our company had a high turnover rate due to high workload but with low salary. When someone with a high rank will resign, they will not replace them but they will just delegate the workload among people who they thought were capable, and this is exactly what happened to me. I was given work that was supposed to be for other departments but my salary remained at the minimum wage. My supervisor also started to pass to me her work and would brag to other supervisors that her job became easier because of me. I would often see her just scrolling on Facebook and YouTube while I was busy at work, and this made me angry, but I got really close to my coworkers that I decided to just stay. One of my jobs was to monitor our employees' daily time record. I could edit the time if needed or add time if ever the employee forgot to log. I got really close to my coworkers and a lot of them started to open up to me about their resentment towards the company, and it made me even more furious. Sometimes, the company will not pay the employees overtime, will not pay the employees' social security dues, no paid sick leave, and many more maltreatment. This made me decide to use what little power I had to help my coworkers in any way I can. This is when I started altering the employees' time record. When they are late but they have a good reason, I would edit it and change the time of their arrival. Sometimes when they had to be absent, I would input a log in and log out so that they will still be paid for that day. It got to the point when I would sometimes just do it out of spite. When my supervisor is being lazy, I would add late minutes to her attendance, not enough to notice but just enough to quench my pettiness. I would do the same to other lazy or mean managers and supervisors. I did it for more than a year without the company noticing. We had an audit team but I guess they sucked at their job or they simply didn't care because I was never caught. I did it so much that it probably totaled to a loss of more than $1,000. It was a few years ago and I am in a great company now, but I still feel guilty. I know that I will never be caught because the company deletes its time logs to avoid lag, so there is no evidence that I changed it, but I still think about it a lot. I knew that I initially did it to help but it later became self-serving. I still think why I made myself into a criminal when I could just quit. Maybe I was still too young and naive. I'm relieved that I was never caught, but the feeling of guilt will always stay with me. I set the maid's bed on fire and nobody still knows how the fire started. Since I was very little I liked to play with fire and the cutting stuff until today. I have a small collection of scissors and razor blade. I tend to be friends with the hands and their child and be uneasy with my own family. So I was friends with the maid of that moment, and when I had nothing to do after school, I went to meet her in her room, which is in the backyard. One day I went and she was always busy working, so I waited for her in her room. Looking around I saw a box of matches near a candle. I had fun lighting the candle and putting it out with my fingers. At one point I decided to go further. I lit one end of the sheet and I put it out by hitting my hand on it, then at one point clapping my hands on it no longer worked and there was no water nearby. I ran, got out of her room and went towards mine in the house. Nobody saw me go out and nobody saw me come in by the living room door. After a few minutes I saw the maid leaving the house by the one in the kitchen heading towards her room. On entering she screams and calls my uncle and my aunt, who was at the house that day. They take out the mattress together and put out the fire, which was very big. On finding the candle, the used matches and the box, they said that she surely forgot to put out the candle, that it was her fault, and they sent the maid away. I almost forgot to say I was 6 at the time. If you enjoy this video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please let us know in the comments below. Turn on the notifications to know when we post new videos. Thank you for coming to the House of Reddit.